guys, it's your girl Nini back with another video. If you're new, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. Make sure you guys like this video and subscribe to my channel. So this video is going to be a little different from the videos that I usually post. This is the beginning of a new series called Cooking with Nini, where it's just basically me showing you guys how to cook simple and easy meals that are low budget and are easy and fast to make. So today's meal is going to be baked vegan taquitos, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Most of this is basically going to be doing a voiceover of it, and I'm going to show you guys step by step how to do everything. This is a disclaimer, you do not have to use everything that I use. I know some people have different taste buds, and for some ingredients they are optional. So yeah, but I hope you guys like this new series, and I hope you guys enjoy this video. And I hope you guys try and do these recipes yourself, see how they turn out, see how you like them, and maybe it could become a new favorite, who knows. So like I said, hope you guys enjoy this video. Okay guys, so the kitchen tools slash appliances you will need are this pan, honestly any pan, you know, your regular sauteing pan that you use. You're gonna need a baking pan, preferably square. I see that works the best, but a bowl, a large one at that. And then you're also going to need a large plate, something to store, you know, your leftovers in, or just anything. It's just good to have extra Tupperware. For extras, or for, you know, if you're covering something up, I would recommend to use Tupperware. To need a chopping board or something to chop your vegetables and everything on. And obviously to chop, you're gonna need a knife. And obviously to mix everything up, you're going to need a spoon. Okay guys, so the seasonings you will be needing are oregano leaves, granulated garlic, you can use any type of salt, this is just the one I use, cumin, ground cumin, taco seasoning, doesn't matter what, and this is optional, chili powder. You guys, I'm just using a little bit of ground turmeric. This is also optional. Okay, you're gonna need bell pepper. Doesn't matter what color, you know, whatever color you like, whatever color tastes the best to you. You're gonna need red onion. Oops. But I'm using 4. This is optional. You can use salsa, minced garlic. Tortillas, these are kind of elastic. They're soft, super soft, and they're smaller, so they can fit in the baking pan that I showed you. Made them. They already are made. This is the brand that I used. And yeah, they're pre-made already. But you can use canned rations if you want to. Got some cheese for a little garnish on top. And this is already in my fridge. This is a good hack, actually, that my mom taught me to keep cilantro fresh, is to put it in cold water in a mason jar. So this is the biggest mason jar that I had, but you are going to need cilantro. I'm using tofu. You know, you don't want any tofu. That tofu is optional as well. So yeah, like I said with the beans, you can use the canned beans. Dry beans are just healthier and they last longer. So yeah, I'm using dry beans. And like I said before, disclaimer, I did pre-make the beans. So yeah, let's get cooking, you guys. I'm just cutting up the bell pepper. A disclaimer, I did have more than just one bell pepper, but it was already cut, and I wanted to show you guys how to cut a full bell pepper. So yeah, and right now I'm just cutting the bell pepper into cube-like shapes. They're not all the same size, but they're around the same size. So yeah, you can cut them however big or small you want. I just like to have them, you know, big enough so I can still taste them in the dish, and they're not being overpowered by anything, because if they're too small, you can't really taste them. So yeah, but you can cut them, you know, however small or big you prefer them. This is just how I chop them. Guys, so this is a little cooking tip that my mom taught me to actually, before you cut the onion, to rinse it off in cold water to help with the stinging. And then don't cut the onion directly down the middle, because that is where the eye is at, and the eye is the part that makes you cry when you're cutting the onion. So yeah, that's why throughout the video when you see me cutting the onion, you always see me cut, you know, on the sides of it, or take off the sides of it instead of cutting directly down the middle. And you know, I didn't cry, so yeah, it works. So that's just a, you know, tip for when you're cutting onions, to don't cut it directly down the middle, because that is where the eye is at, which will make you cry. Okay, so this is me making space on the plate for the onions. I just put everything on one plate, but I did keep it semi-separated. As you can see, you know, some of the bell peppers did get into the onions. But that's why I said you need a pretty big plate, because, you know, if you're putting everything, you can use little bowls or something, but I just used one plate so that when everything's going in the pot, I don't have to, you know, scramble and try to grab everything, because everything is on the same plate. Don't like onions, I would say still, even if it's a little bit, to put the onions in the dish, because it does give it a certain flavor that you might not have if there's no onions. This is just me chopping up some cilantro. Again, same thing with the onions. Even if you don't like it, I recommend trying it in the dish, because it does give it a fresh flavor. And especially with cilantro, a little bit goes a long way. So you don't even need a lot of it. It'll still, you know, if you put a little bit, it'll still have a flavor in the dish. And it does play a part in the freshness of the dish. So I recommend, even if you do, put in a little bit. I just cut it into 4, and then over a bowl I just crumbled it with my hands. If you're doing this, please wash your hands, especially for when you're cooking for other people. And in general, when cooking, wash your hands for every little thing. Just keep washing your hands. And so you could make it, I feel like this was a pretty good size, but if you want it smaller, or if you wanted it chunkier, you could leave it like that. Or if you wanted it smaller, you could crumble it up even more. Things first, this stove is on a low heat. It was just going so fast because I forgot to put the vegetable oil in before the minced garlic and onions. So if you're going to do this, you're supposed to add vegetable oil or whatever cooking oil you use first, and then you add your minced garlic and your onions, and you just let that stir around for a minute before you actually add your bell peppers. I did put in my bell peppers pretty early. If you wanted them to be a little bit crunchier, I advise you to put them in at a later time, but I did want mine to be, you know, softer, so I did add them in pretty early. But again, however you like your bell peppers, that's the time you should put them in. So where I realized I forgot the vegetable oil, and I tried pushing everything to the side so I can put it in. I'm just adding in my tofu. I did let it simmer for a little bit, but I did want to mix it in quickly and let everything get mixed in really well, because you don't want somebody getting a taquito full of tofu and one person getting a taquito full of bell peppers. So make sure you're mixing your mixture very well so everything is evenly mixed together and everybody gets a little bit of everything in every taquito. In that little bit of cilantro that I chopped up. Again, a little bit goes a long way, so that little bit, and I still tasted it in the dish. And like I said, make sure you mix everything very well, because you do not want everything being uneven, and plus it helps it cook better because everything is mixed in and getting cooked evenly. It's optional. You do not have to add lime juice to your dish. It just goes really well with the cilantro and gives the dish a zesty flavor. Happened since we last saw this mixture, so I did have to end up switching pots because there wasn't enough room for everything, and that was before I even added in the corn and black beans. Corn is a part of the ingredients list, but the footage got lost, but corn is on the ingredients list. You can use canned corn, corn on the cob. I used frozen corn. So yeah, now I'm just trying to make sure everything is mixed in pretty well. Like I said, this is very important when it comes down to a mixture like this because you want everything to be blended well together so it can cook evenly. Add the packet of taco seasoning, and then I just added in a little bit of pink Himalayan salt and the granulated garlic. I did have footage of me adding the cumin and oregano leaves and turmeric, but it got lost. But I did add those to the mixture as well. With this, you really have to season it to your liking. I added in a little bit more corn. I did have to re-season it a little bit because I added more of one thing and it kind of dimmed down the flavor that I already put to the mixture. So yeah, if you're adding more of one thing, make sure to go back and taste it to make sure that because you added in some more of one thing, that the flavor is still equal and balanced. Now that everything is mixed in, all the seasonings are put, you're just going to let it simmer and cook down for a little while. Make sure to mix it because you don't want any part of your mixture to burn. Guys, this is the finished product and it really came out good. Now that your filling is done, you're going to need a large plate to roll your taquitos on. You're also going to need to get your tortillas, and you're also going to need to get your cheese and that baking pan that I showed you in the beginning. Your tortillas flat on the plate. You're also going to need a spoon to scoop your filling. After you scoop your filling to the end of the tortilla, make sure it's at the very end, not so much that's falling off, but at the end you're going to start rolling it. Make sure it's very tight, but also make sure that your filling's not falling out. This is one of the first ones that I did, so it did come out a little sloppy. Your filling's going to come out, honestly, so just don't stress it, just put it back in and that's it. But once you roll it at the end, put cheese just to seal it up, and then make sure it's tight, make sure everything is good. And like I said, the filling's gonna fall out, just put it back in. And so because the plate wasn't, or the pan wasn't fully full, I did have a fork holding those taquitos that you see finished in the baking pan. There's a fork over them to hold them together because the pan isn't full yet. Of it, after I did a couple more taquitos, I found the perfect amount of filling where it wasn't as much fallout as there was in the beginning. See the difference from the first one to one of the last ones. I did add a little bit less filling than the first one, and also I added it to the very end, and I was also holding it really tight so that everything would stay put. And while you're rolling it, make sure your pinkies are like holding the bottom of it while you're rolling it, and hold it tight even when you're putting the cheese so that it stays put. So these were the finished rolled taquitos. I put them in a toaster oven. You can use a regular oven, but I put them in a toaster oven for 10 minutes at 500 Fahrenheit. I was watching. Now I'm preparing the guacamole. First, I just cut up a little bit of cilantro. Like I said, a little bit goes a long way, so I only use a little bit. Use 3 avocados because, like I said, I'm cooking for my family. But basically, just cut the avocado down the middle, and there's a pit, so just twist it, and I just scooped it out with my spoon. And after you take out the pit, it's pretty easy. You just repeat this process. So these avocados were perfect for guacamole. They weren't too hard, but they also weren't too soft. So these are the type of avocados you need to look for when you're making guacamole, because these are perfect. Let's cut up a little bit of onions for the guacamole. You can cut them up smaller than this, but I do like chunky guacamole. That's why I kept the onions big like this. But if you don't, you can cut them up smaller. From cutting them up, they went straight into the bowl with the avocados. That I cut up earlier also went straight in. I only added half of it though. Now I just took a fork and just mashed it up. Because these are soft avocados, I didn't even have to do that much work. You know, with the harder avocado, you might have to do like, you know, a little bit more work, but these were, like I said, perfect for guacamole, and you know, it just mashed up really fast. The avocados, now I just added in a little bit of pink Himalayan salt, oregano leaves, granulated garlic, and a little tiny bit of cumin. All of our seasonings are added. I just mixed it in really well. I wanted to make sure everything was mixed in, so you know, everything is equally contributed. And I also added in the other half of cilantro that I chopped up. And so I did add a little squeeze of lime juice, not that much, you don't have to, this is just how I make it. So it wasn't even a lot, but it still was enough so that I could still taste it. And so, like I said, I'm just mixing, making sure everything is blended well together. Now it's plating time. I did use these two little condiment dishes. I added salsa in one of them. The salsa is optional. I just like it because it's spicy. And in the other one, I added in some of that delicious guacamole that we just made. Just put the guacamole and salsa on this plate along with some fresh baked taquitos that just came out the oven. This was, mind you, the third batch that I made, and I had filled this pan up 3 times. So I just stacked the taquitos in a cute little pile, and I also added some of that cheese just sprinkled on top along with a squeeze of lime juice. This is optional, you do not have to do this. And this is the finished product that I just made, and I have some salsa and the guacamole that I made. So we're gonna try it one by itself. It's good, but one thing, I wish it was a little spicier because I really like spicy food. So I'm gonna try it with the salsa, and then I'm gonna try it with the guacamole because I couldn't make it too spicy because my brothers and my mom were all eating it. You guys, with the salsa, it's perfect because the salsa is spicy. So like I was saying, I had to make the mixture for the filling not that spicy, especially with the guacamole too. I didn't even taste the guacamole yet, but I couldn't make it spicy like how I like it because my mom and my baby brothers were eating it. So like I said, with the chili powder, it's all like the chili powder was optional. I don't even think I put any. Maybe that's why. And I have to like season it to your, you know, taste buds, how you like it. Okay, so now I'm gonna try it with the guacamole. I'm really excited because I like chunky guacamole, you guys. I think I'm gonna need a spoon. Okay. Oh my gosh, it fell out. The filling is falling out. Okay. Got the guacamole. Okay, but the guacamole is good. So, and also, it gives it the kick that I like. Like I said, the salsa is optional. You could just make the guacamole. You don't have to have anything with it. Like I said, I just wanted to show you guys how to make the guacamole too, because this is how I make guacamole. Is the filling, I don't know, it was really hard at first. Then once I did a couple more, I got a hang of it. Because you guys, this is my first time making this. You know, it's based off of, I'm gonna try and find the 2 Instagram videos that I got it from. I will put the credits at the end, because I kind of pulled from my personal, like the guacamole, I made it myself. Like that's the recipe that my mom uses. And then the taquito, like filling and stuff, it was, you know, improvised. Like I improvised some parts of it. So when I find the 2 people that I got the, you know, the recipe from, I'm gonna put their ads at the end of the video. I'll probably put them on screen or something, I don't know. So I'm gonna try it, guacamole and salsa. Okay, it's good. For me, the experience was fun. This is like a one-pot meal, if you really want to be honest. Like if I do this again, it'll be easier, because this is the first time I'm making this. Like I literally was watching Instagram videos and just from watching my mom cook, and that's what I was going off of. So I would definitely make this again. Like, or if I'm only making it for myself, then I'll alternate it, because like I said, I like my food really spicy. So I would probably add chili pepper to the mixture, which I didn't this time. With the guacamole, I'll probably add chili pepper or chili powder to that too. But overall, it was really, really good. I hope you guys enjoyed this first episode of Cooking with Nini. There is many more to come. Make sure you guys like this video and subscribe to my channel. Peace, guys, gang.